Hey, welcome back to Podcast Under the Influence. This is JD. That's
Chad. This is episode 4, part 2.
yeah, we're splitting them up. This is all the nerd stuff. So if you like our nerd stuff,
This is
dive
the
on in.
podcast for you.
It definitely is. Starting off with, last night was the Flash Arrow Flaro #Flaro. Go follow it on Twitter. That's what it says. Flash and Arrow #Flaro.
Flash.
It's the mixture of it on
Flash versus Arrow.
CW, which honestly, last night is the first time I've ever actually watched on TV.
Ooh.
Usually I download it, but God, it's a really good episode.
Fantastic episode. Fantastic.
We'll start off with this. I thought Oliver, you don't get the sense that he's like he's supposed to be like a watered down version like Batman, but just nowhere near as smart. Batman is like a genius, and he's like the world's greatest detective and stuff. Oliver is a calculated assassin who no longer assassinates people. It's the best way to put it.
Yeah.
But he made some really good points about Oliver. Like that Oliver is very sloppy and lazy.
That Barry is very sloppy.
It's very sloppy and lazy. And like for example, he says you have literally the time to review every place you go, every crime scene, every attacker you fight. You are so fast you can check everything in a heartbeat, and you don't do it. And it's a great point.
He just rushes in blindly when he has all the time in the world.
Yeah, he's very sloppy,
Lazy.
and that I thought of some other points. Okay, if he is really trying to like be the best Flash that he can, his body heals almost instantly. Okay, he got shot full of like 200 milligrams of the
Horse tranquilizer.
yeah, and all he did was like move really fast, and it went through his system almost instantly. He doesn't have superhuman strength, but he could have pretty good strength for his size. He could literally work out 100 times a day and get super jacked super quick. And he would never need a cooldown. He'd never need a rest. That's what he could do, but he doesn't do it.
But never mind that. He could still be lazy about it and only work out one time a day. And it would only take 30 seconds, and he could still increase his strength over time.
Yeah, he could strengthen his core. He can get his upper body fit. He could do 1,000 curls in a minute.
He could do that while
and he would get the
being
strength.
a human centrifuge.
He would get the strength to increase the weight every 30 seconds. He would build up the muscle and he'd recover so fast. He could literally just keep doing this until his arms were freaking as big as volleyball, like almost as big as mine, but yeah. But I'm just kidding.
Bam! Welcome to the gun show.
Oliver he's pretty jacked. He's a pretty jacked dude.
Yes, but Oliver is also a very focused individual. He realizes that by doing this, I'm only going to get better at what I'm doing.
Yeah, and I think Oliver is just envious of that. If Oliver had that, he could literally be. I don't know, man.
He could be working like 5 cities. He wouldn't be dedicated to Star City.
Well, he probably would just completely rid all the cities of crime, as calculated as he is. He's way more. Barry's got the talent, got the abilities, but Oliver is way more calculated.
Barry just doesn't have the focus.
Yeah.
Well, but that's what spawned this conversation was who would win in a fight.
Which I think Arrow would win.
I think Arrow would win now. Now give Barry and Ollie a year alone on the island for Barry to learn something. Barry would be able to kick his ass 8 months into it. But then again, that's saying that Oliver gives up all his trade secrets, which he probably isn't, because the Oliver in this DC universe is more like Batman. Because Batman, and if you've ever read the comics, which I hope somebody has, there was an entire story arc to where, who was it? The evil villain, whatever the fuck they call themselves.
Legion of Doom?
Yeah, Legion of Doom broke in to the Batcave, got Batman's plans to take down the JLA, because Batman always assumed at one point that he'd have to take out at least one of them for whatever reason.
If not all.
Yes. So they stole his plans to do that and started doing that to the JLA and decimated it. Oliver's acting like that Batman.
Yeah.
And I don't ever think that, regardless of how much Barry trains, especially with Oliver, that he would ever give up everything.
The one you're talking about, is that the cartoon I gave you? There's a cartoon movie about that.
Yeah, but it was also in the books.
Okay.
It was in the books first.
In that cartoon movie, one of the reverse flashes that I was telling you about, that's literally what they're called, the guys that are like his speed but evil.
Mm.
And you know this episode was about the red eyes and stuff? All the reverse flashes have red eyes too. So that has something to do with it. And it's playing off the color spectrum of what colors of Green Lantern.
There are so many lanterns.
I know, but that's what the color spectrum is playing on. That was a little Easter egg for that episode.
Yeah, well.
And what color means this and what color means that and so on and so forth.
Well, the neutral red is blue, but
yeah, but I do think Arrow would win. I think he's smarter. I think he's better. He's more calculated. I think after knowing how quickly this stuff goes through his system, I think he just hit him with 4 arrows for that stuff and knock him completely out. But
I think he would hit him in series. I don't think he'd hit him all at once. I think he would have it set up to lure him into a certain spot and then hit him once, and then if he starts shaking, hit him again in series. And I think that would get him down. I mean, he even was able to get a hold and get a chokehold on him enough to disorient him to the point that he couldn't focus on his ability just to vibrate himself loose and literally shake Ollie's bones.
Well, if he got him enough to that he could tie his feet up so he can't run anymore, game over.
But you got to keep him from moving, period. Let's go cross series here. Flash would be like the Juggernaut. As long as you can keep him stopped, he's completely defeatable, completely winnable. He can't do anything. But once momentum is built, forget about it. The littlest bit of momentum is built. Done. Cannot be stopped.
Agree to disagree on that, but if he can't run, that his abilities is that he's running. He is super fast, but his ability is that he can run.
Yes, but he's super fast at everything. You can put the ropes on his legs, and he can move his legs fast enough, especially in that special suit that is friction resistant, that he could shake it fast enough to either get the ropes to burn, the cables to peel, whatever.
But how long would it take to do that? Is the question, really. I mean, you have to have space for movement. If his legs are entangled so tight that he can't even move them, other than to maybe vibrate them, that's the only thing you can hope for. What if his whole body's tangled in that? He can't move at all.
You'd have to get him to that point first. Let's see what they do tonight.
Tonight's gonna be good. What do you think? What do you think they're gonna do tonight?
They're gonna catch Captain Boomerang.
Well, he is a big part of the Suicide Squad, so
I don't care. It's still just the most ridiculous bad guy. Well,
hey,
not the most ridiculous bad guy, but he's up there with ridiculous bad guys as far as ridiculous.
You never saw the show The Cape, did you?
I watched all of The Cape until NBC canceled it. Why? Because you didn't get the glorious fucking 80 million viewers you wanted per night. I'm still pissed off at you over that, NBC. I think I said that last week.
Well, there's some crappy villains in that one too.
That's okay. But it was what it was. It's not like it was based on some established material that was grandiose.
That's true.
I throw boomerangs. That's what I do.
Anything else on Arrow? I really enjoyed the episode.
I did too. It was good watching. And now, you know what?
Oh, no. You know who that woman was at the end?
You're going to tell me.
The woman at the end that Barry was talking to in the...
Ollie.
God damn, I keep getting mixed up. Ollie was talking to at the coffee place?
Yes.
That was his baby mama.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, remember in last season?
Yeah, they established that he had a child.
His mom paid her to leave,
go away and say that the baby wasn't alive. And blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, well, that kid eventually becomes one of his sidekick. I think it was something Hawk. Clay Hawk or something like that?
I don't know. I'm like an Arsenal, I'm not going to lie.
Arsenal? Yeah. Arsenal's pretty cool.
It's a great name for
Now, the question is Thea going to become Artemis or not?
I thought Thea was Speedy.
That's just his nickname for her, but she can also become Artemis. Now, okay, there's so many different stories you can go off of here. Hold on. If you watch Smallville,
Did they guest star
Yeah.
Arrow in that?
Arrow was on Smallville, and they made him look like a douchebag. Like, basically, all Superman did was have to clean up his mess because Arrow was so sloppy.
Well, Arrow's never sloppy, but I will have to say this. In the comic, he has a tendency to be a douchebag.
In this one, all he did... Well, I haven't seen it. This is what TJ tells me. TJ has watched all the episodes, and I'm going to watch that when we're on our break.
TJ will be filling in for me when the wife has the baby.
Yeah, he will be filling in for this kind of conversation. Like, I'm going to have Mike do football, and I'm going to have TJ talk about comic book stuff.
And he's going to want to talk about cars.
God damn, fucking cars. Shit.
Oh, speaking of which, are you missing any parts off your car?
Muffler. There's a part I got mufflers detached. I got to attach it back.
Okay, I found a tie rod laying in the driveway. I don't know what it is.
Tie rod.
Yeah.
Isn't like the thing that takes the lug nuts off?
No. That would be the lug removal tool.
Tie rod. Well, let's see this bad boy.
That's a tie rod.
I don't think so. I'll look though.
Okay.
I'll look though.
Found the driveway. I forgot to mention it to you Friday night. Oh, yeah, that's right. Drinking.
Yeah. Anything else about Arrow?
And we're back. That's the end of our car talk. That's as long as it'll ever go.
That's the thing about that bugs. Okay, there's people who do this all the time, and I need to get something straight here. Just because, like for example, there are people who watch the old Batman movie, Batman Returns, Batman Forever, and Batman and Robin, and think that they are connected to The Dark Knight, Batman Begins. They're not. They make like the original Superman is not connected to this Superman. There's not 5 Supermen throughout the course of history.
That would, if you're going to connect all that together, then you might as well go back to 1966 and connect the original Batman movie with Adam West and Burt Ward into the whole entire franchise.
Some things are connected, like Star Trek, the original series, is connected to the movies, and it is connected to Next Gen.
Next Gen, Voyager,
it's all
Enterprise,
connected,
that's all one giant bag of potatoes, and people will argue, but damn it, you guys did a great job with the restart of it.
DC Comics, Batman is 75 years old. It's been being written, whatever, I'm sorry. I probably got that wrong, but it's been wrote, whatever, for 75 years now. They have about 4 different origin stories. Example, in Gotham, they're going off the origin story that for a while, the butler, I can't think of his name right now, Alfred trained Bruce how to fight initially. In another trilogy, it was Ra's al Ghul, a darker version, because Ra's al Ghul is leader of the League of Assassins. The original comic book, he was made out to be strictly a very smart detective who was pretty good at fighting, but not the greatest fighter in the world, but just solve problems. There's different origin stories for every comic book. Example, Guardians of the Galaxy, the original one, if you get the original one from the 70s, is nowhere even close to the one that we saw.
Not even recognizable. It really is.
No.
Essentially, Guardians of the Galaxy has been rehashed at least 6 times, and the casts, other, I think, than Star-Lord, have changed completely.
Yeah.
I think Star-Lord's like the only thing. And he's never
Rocket
the same
Raccoon
in each
was
incarnation.
the same, but Rocket Raccoon in the original one was not one of the main Guardians. He was just a side character before he had all those experimentations done on him that made him super smart.
I think Bradley Cooper's Rocket Raccoon.
I like it too. So, but people need to understand that they're not connected. Like for example, whenever the Justice League comes out, that is not connected to a TV show. The TV show universe is different than the movie universe.
Yeah, cartoons and movies, for one, are completely different, and what they're doing what Warner Brothers is doing on television right now on the CW will have absolutely nothing to do with the movies that started with the Man of Steel.
That's
completely different animal.
Yeah. People need to really understand that, because I've heard so many people ask me about it, like, well, this happened, what happened? It's not. It's like the Dark Knight trilogy is not connected to the new one coming out. Nowhere even close. The Dark Knight trilogy is not connected to the new one coming out. Period.
But those are the same people that watched the original Captain America movie from back in the 80s and watch the new ones now and be like, well, I don't remember being like that. Well, no shit, you don't remember being like that.
It's a different story.
Because what's being told now is, God, so much closer to canon than anything that was done in the 80s. And if you want proof of that, do yourself a huge disservice and make sure you have a loaded gun by your side when you do this, go look up the original Fantastic Four movie from the 80s. It's out there. You can bootleg it. It is the most terrible piece of shit that was never released, is how bad it was. It was only made to maintain the rights to the characters. So, by all means, watch that and then connect it to the next 2 Fantastic Four movies. And you know what? While you're at it, since you have all the fucking answers, go ahead and connect it to the one coming out in 2015. It's stupid. It has absolutely nothing to do with the other. Unless we are talking about Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, or Star Trek, none of it's fucking related.
Now, hold on. There are some that, like Marvel, right now, all their movies are related when it comes to, like, the Avengers. Those are related.
I would assume anyone with a modicum of common sense would understand.
But, like, the ones, if there was one made, like, 15 years ago, that's not related to
Forget
this.
about it.
Okay? The Dark Knight trilogy is a standalone story. It's made to be as realistic as possible. The old Batman through Batman and Robin were made more comic booky. Not the type of that was a different type of Batman based on the comic books. The new ones now are based on, like, Nightfall. Very dark comic book. Now the one they're doing now is based on Justice League, and I'm not sure how they're going to portray Batman to be. But
It's going to be done. Ben, come on, brother. Pull it out. I don't care how you do it. Figure it out. Pull it out. Do it.
That's what she said. Okay. So now I got that little rant out of the way.
Don't make
my
it
friend,
like
my
you're
buddy
going
Jared
through.
does this all the times too, because he'll watch the movie and try to connect it to TV shows. He doesn't know. He doesn't read the comic books.
Other agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Okay, another example is Walking Dead. Walking Dead is way different than the comic book.
On purpose.
Why would they make it exactly the same? There'd be no point to watch the show if you've already read the comic book.
Game of Thrones, exactly the same. He's going back and changing things he wished he would have after he read his own damn books. If you've read the books, you can give your friends a heads up that, hey, I think this is coming this week. Maybe.
Yeah.
90% chance.
Well, they've already changed. Well, we didn't get too much into Game of Thrones, but they've already changed some things.
Okay, I only know one person who hasn't watched last season yet.
Who's that?
Moose.
Moose, get on your shit, buddy.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't watch it until I buy it, and then I let it to him.
Well,
He's a very honest
give him a
dude.
flash drive.
No, Moose is a very honest dude. He doesn't do that.
Well, for all you know. There's an app. Download the app.
There's an app for that.
There's an app for everything. There's like
Yeah,
a
we
perfect
talked about
app
it last
now.
week. You watch it on your phone?
Yeah. You can't. I love it. Oh, I love it. Anyway. So that was our... God, I cannot wait till April when we're going to bitch and talk about Game of Thrones so fucking much. I can't wait.
All the time.
24/7. I will watch the episode 3 times before we have this damn podcast.
You'd almost have to if you want to talk about it
Oh my
eloquently.
god. That's so good. So don't get it twisted. Just because it happened in one,
Doesn't mean it's going to happen in the other.
and that's the beauty of it. You never know. You don't know the story. Like, for example, last week, I'll get into this real quick. Last week, the villain last week in Arrow. Cupid was SWAT in the show. She was a soldier of special forces. And she got experimented on, kind of like Miracle, but not to that extreme. And that's what drove her psychosis. Now, it's a little different than the one they're portraying, because Arrow is supposed to be realistic. No one's super out there. Miracle was the craziest they got. Which I don't think that's out of the norms of...
I like the way they're doing it, because quite honestly, from what I've read, is when they decided to go with Arrow, they were basing it off of the way the Dark Knight went.
Yes.
Very realistic, very down to earth, very
It's actually
believable.
very dark, too, now you think of it.
It's extremely dark. He spent the entire first season murdering motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Not that they didn't have it coming, because they totally had it coming.
Yeah.
But he just spent the entire first season murdering motherfuckers.
Okay, so we're off of that. Wow, we spent 20
20
minutes
minutes.
talking about Arrow.
Hey, we tangential.
Okay. I did call that Copperhead. They actually have it listed on IMDb, DB, whatever.
DB.
As Copperhead. So I had that called, yes. I'm really glad that they're redoing her character, because in the old comic books, it was a dude, and he got bit by a snake, and the snake was like radioactive.
Just so
So it
weird.
just warps it. I like the fact that it's an assassin. And Carl looks good in tight pants, by the way. The girl who played him. But
Well, just her
Later.
movement slithering like a
Yeah.
snake. But since we're talking about this, let's go right into the fact that it was released today. The cast of the Suicide Squad for the movie in, I'm going to assume 2016 because they're going to start shooting in April. Jared Leto as the Joker.
Which I like that.
Will Smith is Deadshot.
I like that.
I'm really liking that because I want to see Will Smith as the bad guy and not. What was the superhero movie he did? Son of a bitch.
Hancock.
Yeah, not the anti-hero, but the bad guy. Loving that. Tom Hardy as Rick Flag.
Yeah, that looks good too.
Didn't Tom Hardy play Bane?
Yeah.
Okay.
Different universes though. So
Yeah,
it's okay.
Margot Robbie is Harley Quinn. Now, I haven't looked into her. I don't even know who that girl is. I'm gonna have to do.
She
some
looks.
research
Dude,
on that.
she is hot though.
I don't care if she's hot. Will she fill the role?
Hold on. Let me just Google her picture. I'll
Okay.
show you.
Jai Courtney is Boomerang. We've already established how I feel about that. And Cara.
How do you spell a chick's name?
No.
The Margaret. Okay, Robbie.
Margot.
Robbie.
And Cara Delevingne. I'll go with Delevingne. We'll go with the French. As Enchantress. Now, I don't know a whole lot about that character either. But it looks like whoever is setting this up has got their shit squared away because that looks like.
That's an all-star cast right there.
That might be the Guardians of the Galaxy of the DC Universe. That might be the one that steals the show regardless of everything else going on.
Yeah. I'm a little upset that Shane wasn't in it. 'Cause I heard that he was like really up there to get it. But I mean, you can't take it away from Will Smith. I mean, Will Smith wants something, he's gonna get it.
Shane from The Walking Dead, for those of you who haven't watched.
I don't know.
anything else.
I don't know his acting name, so.
Yeah, and I said he was the wrong guy before because Ian McShane is like that older middle age guy with the gravelly voice. His last thing he did was Hercules.
Search, damn it. Well, just grab my phone.
Oh, progress bar and hats. Yeah, Super Trooper 2. Where are you at?
She's super young too. She's 24.
That could work.
It's more movies for her.
Yeah, just images. I just need to know what she looks like.
I'm looking.
Yeah, you guys do this too to make sure you're up to speed.
Yeah.
You can do it along with us. We've given you enough time. That'll work.
Yeah.
That'll work.
See this?
You can't see that.
Yeah, you can't see it. No matter how much I try.
Yeah, just Margot Robbie.
She'll
She'll fill the role nicely.
She's doable.
Because I honestly thought at the beginning of let's go back to our previous conversation. The girl who plays Felicity Smoke, I thought she would have made the perfect Harley Quinn.
I don't want to move it too small.
This is nerd talk, not porn talk.
Okay.
I'm impressed with the casting. I just really am. I think
it's good. I think it will be. But I'm not worried about the acting. I'm worried about what story they pick. Because you saw Assault on Arkham. If the movie is half as good as that cartoon, it's gonna be pretty darn good.
Well, they're gonna have to have guest stars. They're definitely gonna have to have like either Ben Affleck or Hank Caviezel jump in there. Oh, and they were talking about that nerdy fuck.
Riddler?
No, what the hell's his name? He's in all those goofy movies. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
Oh, talking about the main actor, Mike Cera?
No, not that guy.
Mike Cera.
No, I was wrong.
Okay, well, if you're talking about Lex Luthor?
Yeah.
Lex Luthor, okay, that's the guy from Social Network.
Oh, the guy from the zombie movie.
Yes, Zombieland. I can't think of his name, but he is going to play Lex Luthor. And I've seen him bald, and he does pull off the look pretty well.
Well, not even the look, but I could just see him being just kind of that cold, calculating, monotone, non-passionate. Because I think that's what Lex Luthor needs to be. Now, in the past,
Gene Hackman did him pretty good, but
well, he got a little passionate at times. Like Lex Luthor is not supposed to be excitable. He's just supposed to be like,
no, straight face.
You're kicking my ass. I'll get you next time.
You should suck my dick. You really should. Just do it. You know you want to, and he's just talking into it without even showing emotion at all. Anything he wants, he can do that.
What the fuck is it in the DC universe that everyone has to own like a major super corporation and be like fucking filthy fucking rich? Lex Luthor, Oliver Queen, Bruce Wayne.
There are some that
I'm just saying.
That's a common. Well, okay. Here's another one. Ray Palmer. Ray Palmer. Adam.
We established that last week. I do remember
Ray
that.
Palmer. I could probably name a couple more if we tried hard enough.
There's only like one guy like that in the Marvel Universe.
Tony Stark.
Yeah, that's it. Tony owns everything. He does everything. He can do anything. Whatever. That just.
I think it's more realistic. That's why.
I'm just noticing shit.
think
Yeah, because a guy who's got that much, he's not. Well, what? He's not super smart. He's not super strong, but he's got super money.
Lex Luthor, you mean?
Well, he is really intelligent, but he's not super strong. I mean, he can only do what he can do.
I think Lex Luthor's biggest asset as a villain is he really knows people and how to manipulate people.
That's why he did get elected president.
Yeah, he really knows. That's a superpower, a supervillain power. Is he can manipulate people to do whatever he wants, and that is his ability to beat Superman. Superman loves the people and he won't hurt them, but if they hate Superman and they love Lex Luthor, that's his way of. Superman just wants to be loved. That's the best way to put it. He just wants the people to love him.
He's like a stupid dog.
He is. He is.
A giant stupid dog.
I don't like Superman.
DC, word of advice. Marvel's not doing this, and there's a reason they're not doing this. They're leaving Submariner out of it because no one gives a shit about him. So you might want to think about leaving Aquaman under the table somewhere. Just leave him there. Jason Momoa, great casting for that. I like it, but you might want to just tuck that under the rug because fish powers are not something that's going to sell a lot of tickets in movies.
That depends on how they do it. If they do it with him having Atlantis and a whole army,
no, fish powers don't work. He was.
If they have him,
he was not cool in the cartoon. He's not cool in the comic book. I've yet to read or see anything on Aquaman or Submariner or Namor for that fact that makes me want to think. You know what my superpower is? I want to talk to fish and live in Atlantis.
I think it would be okay if it was about not so much him talking to fish, which is basically the same power as SpongeBob, just throwing it out there. But I'm ready. Yeah. I'm ready. Are you ready?
That's what's going through my head.
I'm ready. But lost train of thought. If they did it where he was at war with someone else and it had all the army of Atlantis, like okay, the game Injustice: Gods Among Us it's okay. It's a DC comic book game where the Joker kills. Spoiler alert, Joker injects Superman with some fluid with a kryptonite needle, and it makes him hallucinate. And he sees Lois Lane as a Joker, and the Joker has quote unquote a bomb.
Oh, yeah.
And he kills Lois, but he thinks it's the Joker. And Lois has the heart rate, the thing attached to her heart rate, that if she dies, it sets off a nuclear bomb.
That was an Elseworlds storyline in DC Comics.
Yes. Well, in the game, Superman goes crazy and basically puts the world on martial law, and a handful of superheroes get launched into the future. But Superman is declared martial law in the entire world. Okay, and he has. It's either you're with him or you're getting, like, for example, he like breaks Arrow's neck, just snaps right off his head. That's one example.
It's terrible.
There's a bunch of them. He kills a bunch of superheroes.
Hopefully it wasn't when Kevin Smith was
No.
writing.
But
Kevin Smith, you did a fantastic job.
He did.
I have it.
But anyway, my point is in this, Aquaman has the army of Atlantis, and he uses that army against the Amazons. So if it did something like that, where it had like a whole army, and he was this like
the general,
a good warrior, maybe, but
he's like the Jar Jar Binks of the DC universe.
Yeah, have you seen a Big Bang Theory version?
Never.
When they did Never?
Never. I do not watch The Big Bang Theory. People like that show. I'm not people.
I'm going to show you something really quick.
I'm not people. I do not like your show. I do not like the way you portray people with intelligence. I think it's insulting at best.
I love that show.
I hate that show. I'd rather have something that makes me think other than something that makes me feel like I'm intelligent by the time I'm
What are you talking about here?
Do not show a trailer for something while we're here.
I'm not. I'm just going to show you a picture of what Roz looked like how Aquaman is portrayed in this. And this is why he's kind of the
Is that the bearded Aquaman?
no. You will see. Hold on, Aquaman. In
I'm taking a beer
Big
break.
Bang Theory.
Oh, God. Seriously? When that one dork dressed up as him?
Yeah, it's funny. Search. Enhance. Enhance.
Super Troopers 2, where you at?
Taking forever, guys. You had that script written in 2010.
Get it done. Yeah, Kevin Smith, love you to death, man, but Clerks 3, come on, let's get that shit going, man.
Dude, that's his last movie. He's retired.
I don't care. He's been retired forever. What does he do? He runs a comic shop.
Okay, well, this is loading.
He is like the god of nerds. Like, seriously. He's living the life. He did everything he wanted to do. He did it his way. He told Hollywood to go fuck themselves.
That's how it's portrayed.
That's about how Aquaman
All
is.
the other ones have like a costume and they actually look like Batman and stuff. But
That's how the entirety of the world thinks about Aquaman DC Universe. So you might want to put him in there, maybe somewhere along the lines of like a Hawkeye or Black Widow. But Hawkeye and Black Widow actually deserve their own movies because people would watch that.
in fairness, though, Aquaman does actually have superpowers. He can do more than that, but I don't want to get into that. He can do more than that. Okay, what else do I have here? Penguins of Madness. I'll start about Constantine real quick, and then we'll get into
I haven't watched the first 5 episodes yet.
I've watched 3, and okay, if anyone watched Supernatural, it's a crappy version of that. To be completely honest, it's not very good. I don't blame it for being canceled. It cannot keep my attention the same my life.
Really?
I tried last night. I turned my computer off and I gave it my undivided attention. Could not do it. And you know me, I can focus and watch just about anything, but I just could not do it.
He watched 2 ants fuck in a corner once. True story.
It happens.
It wasn't that entertaining, and I had a lot more to drink that night.
Well, I don't know if they're fucking or... I'm just kidding.
It might have been fighting to the death.
Might have been.
How could you tell?
You can't tell they're ants. They both can lift each other up and throw each other. Alright.
There was oil involved, so who knows?
Alright, Star Wars trailer. I got a whole list of Star Wars to talk about here.
Just out of one trailer?
Well, that and there's other things coming out.
If you're going to bring up the Black Stormtrooper thing, I'm going to flip my fucking shit on that.
I'm not. I wasn't going to. Apparently he's one of the Force-sensitive guys. The Force Awakens. That's one of the people. He's a big cast member, apparently, in
IMDb. Okay, kids, let's break this down for a real simplistic, like, in the original trilogy, not the original trilogy, the second trilogy, which was the first trilogy. God, that is so complicated. There were clone troopers. In the first trilogy, which was episodes 4, 5, and 6, they were called stormtroopers. There was a majority of them that were clones, but they weren't not all clone troopers.
Wrong. After the events that happened for on the third Star Wars movie of the new series of the
episodes 1, 2, and 3.
Return of the Sith, Revenge of the Sith. After that, he took over the Republic, but the Republic was bankrupt, so they could not afford to get more clone armies. That's when they started recruiting. And there were some left. You're right about that. There were some left.
Don't yell at me and agree with me because you're just saying what I said. You're just explaining it better.
It's a very small percentage. By the time you got to the events of the first movie, most of them were so old that they were actually just like the generals and stuff.
20 years.
Yeah.
Give or take.
They were generals, and they were recruiting into. And that's why I have Rebel Cartoon on here, because Rebels Cartoons, they actually have this the Imperial Academy. They actually started an Imperial Academy right after the events of the first movie.
Okay, my point remains to you diehard Super Star Wars fans, calm the fuck down about a black stormtrooper. That is such horse shit.
Yeah.
They were recruiting at that point. That was my gist. I didn't realize that they were bankrupt and all that other crap. I didn't read that far into it, but the point remains. That's why they referred to them as stormtroopers and not clone troopers, because if they were all still clones, they would be referred to as clone troopers, i.e., that's why Ben Kenobi referred to it as the Clone Wars that had happened, not happening, but had happened.
If you had clone troopers in the 4th, 5th, and 6th episode of Star Wars, Obi-Wan Kenobi would have never been able to say these are not the droids you're looking for and all that stuff. Clone troopers were too smart for Jedi tricks to work on them. They were designed that way.
Well,
for the most part.
Controlling someone's mind with the Force doesn't really have to do with their intelligence. It has to do with their strength of will.
They do have.
And Boba Fett had strength of will, and they were direct clones of Jango Fett. So, yeah, I kind of
not his father, his clone. He was.
Yeah.
Boba Fett's cloned.
Yeah.
And that was given
Jango Fett. All the clones were cloned after Jango Fett. He was strong-willed. You cannot control the mind of someone who is strong-willed.
Stormtroopers in the Star Wars universe have the worst minds in the universe. They're very obedient.
They're the Marines.
They're beyond Marines, dude. They're like the SS soldiers of like Nazis.
We just lost 5% of our audience.
Probably. They are so obedient that their minds are very weak when it comes to their own free will. So you cannot have clone troopers out and about with the Jedi telling them, like waving their hand and tricking them. You can't do it. So that's one of your evidences right there that there's no possible way that there's that many quote-unquote clone troopers left. You understand, that war was obliterating like a lot of troopers. That war was hard.
Yeah, if you really think that they killed Jedi that easily as was portrayed in Revenge of the Sith, I'm pretty sure huge amounts, like battalions of armies, died before subduing single Jedi.
Well, you also
I don't care what they did to the Academy.
But you also got to consider this, and this movie, for the record, this movie is still, the Rebel War is still going on in the movie we're about to watch.
20 years later?
Yes. The movie is still going on. That's why they have X-Wings and why they have all the Rebellion stickers on them. That's why you still have Stormtroopers. That's why you still have all that stuff.
You figure killing the Emperor, taking out the Death Star, and Darth Vader dying.
I'm full circling here for a second. Let me finish. I'll full circle.
I don't want to leave.
Okay. Whenever the Empire took over the Republic in the Revenge of the Sith, you think the war ended on that second? No. They still had there were still other soldiers for the Federation, the Confederation out there fighting. So now you have all these clone troopers that usually they fight pretty well, but they're still outmatched. I mean, you can just create a whole army full of battalion of the robots or whatever they're called, droid army. You can create a droid army in a heartbeat. Okay, it takes you 20 years to create a whole army full of clones. So they had a war after that. There was a long war after that. Probably about good. What do you think? How long do you think is the difference between Star Wars, the New Hope, and Revenge of the Sith? Like 30 years, 25 years? How much distance is between the two?
16 years.
I think 16.
Luke was born at the end of Revenge of the Sith, and he's supposedly 16 to 18 years old in A New Hope.
Okay. Anyway, sounds about right.
Point is,
but took about 5. They lost a lot of troops in that war.
Politically, they took over.
Yes.
Politically, the war was over, but as was demonstrated by the Civil War all those years ago, just because Abraham Lincoln said, "Hey, we're done," there was still fighting going on for another year and a half.
Just like in this movie now, just because the Emperor's dead doesn't. Okay, you have 1 million ships, you have almost hundreds of thousands of soldiers. It's just, the Emperor's dead. Well, lay our guns down. Let's go home, guys. No, they're still fighting. They still have stuff to do. The Emperor does rule everything, but there is kind of like a not really a government. What would be the proper term? Tribunal.
Yeah, but
that does rule everything. That they're still in charge of it.
Can I counter your point?
Go ahead and counter.
They kind of shot themselves in the foot when they re-released the original trilogy in the 90s, and then they added that celebration scene at the end of Return of the Jedi to make it seem like they won and the news had spread and democracy reigned supreme and there was nothing left to do. So
okay, I'm
going to be curious to see how they play that in there, because, I mean, if that's truly how it happened and how it ended, and communication in that far, far away, long, long ago bullshit was instantaneous, then technically it would have changed overnight, and there would be no rebellion and there would be no empire whatsoever at all, unless it is the majority of the rebellion seeking the last of the empire. That could work, but I hope whoever wrote episode 7, and if you didn't use either of the two pre-established storylines that were out there in novel form, that you paid attention to that. Because if you missed that little point, there's only one thing worse than an anal retentive Star Trek fan, and that is a super anal retentive Star Wars fan.
Well, here's some hints. Okay, if you look at the trailer, remember when he had all those X-Wings flying over that lake? It looked like a lake.
Well, modified X-Wings.
That is Mon Calamari. That's Admiral Akbar's home planet. So, I mean, they did a lot of filming. They did a lot of filming on a lake. So apparently, there's a lot of stuff that goes on there. That's what it's Mon Calamari. I know
How unoriginal is that shit?
It might be just Mon Calamar. I don't think calamari is actually in it, but
close enough.
Okay, that's a hint. So I need to go look this up and see if there's what story plays into that. But that's where you see all the X-wings flying over the water.
Yes, I remember.
Okay, you have Tatooine, which first. Why the fuck do they go back to Tatooine all the fucking time? It's a goddamn wasteland.
That is fine.
That goddamn wasteland
of the Millennium Falcon flying through that, awesome.
I liked it.
The skiff on the sand, the way it kicked up and turned with attention to detail for the CGI guys. Good job, Lucasfilm.
I liked it. Don't get me wrong. I liked it, but why do they keep going back to Tatooine? It's a shit planet. It is god awful.
Okay. Maybe that's the next savior of the Force.
Here is the big thing that I've heard in the rumor, and I'm going to give a little credit out to a guy named, I don't know his last name, it's Charlie. He does a channel called Emergency Awesome, and he does a very good. Okay, I know the broad. You and I are know the broadness of most of this stuff, except you might know in depth on Transformers.
I don't study the intricacies of the Star Wars universe, but I am well read.
Okay. So am I, and the same with Marvel and DC Comics, and I'm really read up on Batman.
You're better read on DC than I am, but I'm better read on Marvel than you are.
This guy knows all of it. His whole life is dedicated to making. He makes a living doing this, so he must make sure make sure his stuff is right.
He makes more money than both of us twice,
probably, yeah,
in a year.
Yeah. But he's very read up on all this stuff. So you ever want to have a little bit of questions? Watch his show. He'll fill you in on the little things you might not know. He'll fill the blanks in really well for you. According to him, the rumor is that, remember when you saw the lightsaber? The only part you saw the lightsaber with the 2 parts on it. That's on Endor.
The Forest Moon?
Yes.
The Forest Moon of Endor or Endor itself?
The Forest Moon of Endor.
Ah, good boy. I'm paying attention.
Okay. Forest Moon of Endor. Because apparently Luke burnt his father on that moon.
As is the right for a dead Jedi.
Yes. But apparently there was something with Vader's suit. And that is why the Sith... They don't say it's a Sith. The rumor is that's a Dark Jedi. Or a Dark Knight. But
it's a Dark Jedi, it's a Sith.
No. Sith, it does not mean that. It does not mean that. There's a difference.
The only
There's a difference.
Jedi that could be considered dark ever is Mace Windu.
No.
Yes.
Let's hear that, but
yes.
we can argue forever. Anyway, that's what they said is to be the reason that they're on that planet. Is there's something left there by Vader when he was dead. That's why they're there. And the rumor has it that quote unquote Dark Jedi or Sith. I think. Can we hover in the middle? I think it's a Sith Inquisitor. That's how they kind of. This is how they kind of break that.
I don't think there's a middle ground there.
There is.
It wasn't that Anakin was like, no, I'm over here and I'm over here and I'm over here. Hold on, I'm going to hang out in the middle. No,
there is a middle ground. Here's why. You ever heard the rule of 2?
There must always be 2.
There's a master and then there's an apprentice. There's never anything else. Okay. If you have a Sith Inquisitor, they don't challenge a threat to an all-out Sith Lord because they're Force sensitive and they kind of know how to fight with lightsabers, but they're not experts at it. They're good enough to get the job done, and they're better than the people they're fighting, but they're not as good as Sith Lords. So Sith Inquisitors is their kind of cheat rule to have more people with Force capabilities, but without having them completely with the Force, and you don't have to worry about them competing with Lord Vader or competing with Emperor Palpatine. That's kind of the gray area I'm talking about. They have another one, Dark Jedis. This is where Dark Jedis comes in. A Dark Jedi was called a Jedi Sentinel. They used to do the dirty work for the Jedi. If Jedi don't hunt down and kill Sith Lords. They need someone to do that. They would get a Jedi Sentinel to do it. They're Force sensitive. They're very skilled with the lightsaber, but they're nowhere near as in touch with the Force as a Jedi Knight would be. That's what a Dark Jedi is. And they can have any color lightsaber. Just depends. It depends on their preference, but it also depends on their ability and where their abilities lie and their strengths lie.
Okay, this is where George Lucas went wrong with allowing people to manipulate the Star Wars franchise any way they wanted for their own personal use. There's no establishment of canon. There is none. There really is none. For all intents and purposes, all the novelizations that came out, all the comic books that came out, any one of those stories could be just thrown in there and be like, no, this is the one I'm talking about. No, this is the one I'm talking about. Other than that, brilliant.
I'm just giving you my... Okay, let me just be fair. I'm giving you my interpretation. Okay? I'm giving you my interpretation of what a Dark Jedi is and a Sith Inquisitor.
Well, but if you want to throw the games into it, it was established in which one of the games? You know it. That Vader had an apprentice.
That would be Force Unleashed.
Okay, there you go. It was established that apparently Vader had an apprentice. So if we're going to throw that into canon, then who's to say that Vader didn't have a second apprentice?
Okay, we can also throw this in. The Rebels cartoon, they don't show Darth Vader, and Darth Vader is alive in the Rebels cartoon because it's between Episode 3 and Episode 4 of the movies.
Dude, do you really think they can afford James Earl Jones' fucking voice?
Well,
that's just expensive.
They could choose Stewie.
Worth it. That would be funny, but I don't think true Star Wars fans would.
In that, you have Senator Palpatine, you have Lord Vader. They don't show up though. They have a Sith Inquisitor who does all their dirty work. Okay, and what I'm guessing is near the end of the Rebel TV show is somehow the Sith Inquisitor dies, and that's when Vader decides that he's got to take control of the situation because apparently Sith Inquisitor's not good enough to do this. It's in the show. The Sith Inquisitor's in the show. Not very good for Force sense. Like if you have good Force sense, for example, there's one where the main character, I can't remember his name right now, so this little kid, he joins the Jedi Academy. Whereas a kid, you train to be a Jedi Stormtrooper. Yeah. Okay. If
Jedi
he's no
Stormtrooper.
No, he's trying to be a Stormtrooper. He's trying to be a Stormtrooper.
I didn't watch it.
He's in the Empire Academy, Imperial Academy, for whatever. If the Sith Inquisitor was a full-blown Sith, he would have been able to detect the Force sensitivity of the boy immediately. Because he is Force sensitive. He can use the Force, he can levitate things, but he's not very good with it yet. He's Force sensitive. He would have detected that immediately. Because he is an Inquisitor, he has the ability to do some of the Force stuff, but he's not in tune with it. He doesn't meditate to it. Or is it Sith?
He's not in tune.
Yes. And he doesn't seethe over hate and focus on the Force in that way. The way like Palpatine or Vader might. Just seethe on it. So Vader seethes on his anger, and that's where he gets a lot of his power from. Yeah. But anyway, that's the only point I'm trying to make. They have the ability, and it's kind of their way of getting around the rule too. Because then you can have 5 or 6 Inquisitors, and you can still have your remaining 2 guys. And I think the movie's going to be about something happens, and all these people who are Force sensitive, but somehow it's been suppressed in their subconscious, just comes to them. That's where you get the black guy waking up, and all of a sudden, oh my god, what the? I can really feel all the midichlorians everywhere. You know what I mean? So that's what I think the movie's about. And rumor has it the Jedi with the Dark Jedi or Sith Lord or whatever it was with the lightsaber, that was Gwendolyn Christie, the girl who plays Brienne in Game of Thrones. Oh. Yeah, she's supposed to have a big part in this movie. Okay, we got almost 50 minutes.
That wasn't even the argument that he wanted to have, because the argument Friday night was whether or not the crossguard was a feasible fighting weapon.
It's not a feasible fighting
weapon. It is!
I did look it up, and there's a reason for that. I do understand the reason, but I don't like the reason. The reason for that is it prevents you from getting your hand cut off. by someone else. But again, if you have a cross T and you twirl it, you're going to cut your own hand off.
Not every fighting style requires you to twirl the sword.
I think it would, but
I don't think
it's
it
not.
would.
Okay. If it's a two-handed weapon, two-handed weapons make no sense for Sith, for Jedi. If you look up, there's a video on this that explains all the types of lightsabers, length, shortness, whatever, and what they're good for.
And skill levels.
Yes. If you have a longer sword, if it's weighted, you have a point. Because then when you come down with force, you can break shields, you can disorient people. Just blunt force alone will knock people off their track. But it's a lightsaber. The only thing that has weight to it is the actual handle itself. And that weighs less than this damn beer I'm holding right in my hand.
But that's a European class sword. Just not every sword made in Europe was made to be this big hulking fucking Conan the Barbarian sword. A lot of the Templar Knights sword were built with crossguards in them, and you didn't see them like. And even when they did, there's a way that you roll that in your hand that two sides of that will never ever touch your hand at all if you're doing it properly.
I'm just saying, I don't see the...
With 8 different classifications of lightsaber combat, it's fun. And your other argument is that there's no way it could block a downward blow, but two lightsabers against each other block each other because the electromagnetic field emitted, so it would. But I think you just said that in the heat of the argument.
Okay. What else here? I only have 2 more things on my list.
Wow, seriously, we just sucked up a...
And
we said we were going to be a lot shorter this week.
did.
We really had that conversation as soon as you walked through the door. Wow.
I only have 2 more things to talk about. 2
are
more
they both
things
comic
in the top
book?
10. What?
Both comic book movie related, or?
No, one is all the Star Wars movies that are rumored to be coming out in the next 2 years.
Okay, and what's the one after that?
Penguins of Madagascar.
Okay. We're going to take a break from Nerd Talk for a second, and I'm going to initiate all of those idiot fuckers out there on Black Friday really, really fast. Here's the thing. The major retailers, especially in the large markets, want you to think that if you do not show up Thursday night between 6 and 7, 7 and 8, and 8 and 9, you won't get jack shit and you're fucked. However, if you're intelligent and you don't like waiting in lines like I do, you realize that if you show up Friday morning and not at 6 o'clock, at 8:30, after all the other stupid fucks have left and gone to the mall to destroy that place with their wonderful holiday cheer and bullshit greediness, in small market areas, and I do mean your rural areas and your outlying suburbias, you will still find all of the great deals that were there. And furthermore, if they have an overabundance of that, they will further discount it so you can save more money by being patient. So be patient, kids. Don't go out there and fight each other on Thanksgiving. You just gave thanks for all the shit you have, and now you're going out to buy all the shit you think you need. You don't need it. You want it. Shut the fuck up. Stop it.
I don't participate in
Stop
this.
I do, because I like going out and watching all you fuckers run around like rats.
That's the only thing I do. I'm going to tell this story on the podcast. I've told you this before. I went, I think it was 2 years ago. You know the story I'm going to tell too, don't you? 2 years ago.
I know it, and I didn't say anything to you that night, Friday night, but I've heard that same similar story.
Probably from me.
Told by different people over the past 10 years.
Really?
Yes. Very similar stories.
Okay, well, this story was at Walmart.
It's a good one.
And there's, on Black Friday, it was like 11 o'clock in the morning. There's an old lady, I'm in the electronics, just watching, okay? Old lady's just walking up, shaking. Okay? And there's a pallet where there was like a stack of DVD Blu-ray players. And there's only one left. Okay? So she shakes, picks it up, puts it in her cart. Not like a second later, this big guy comes about 6'3", like 290. Okay, walks through with his big old chest, his arms, doesn't have a neck. Just walks up to her, looks at the pallet, and goes, looks in the woman's cart and goes, "Oh, you're old, you don't need this." Grabs it, pulls it out of the cart, and goes to walk away with it. The old lady gets rid of the shakes, yes please, and just uppercuts him right in the balls. The guy drops, and he drops, and he's holding his balls. The old lady picks it up, puts it back in the cart. Okay.
Brought to you by Rolling Rock.
Anyway, And so she walks away, and the guy's just sitting there holding his crotch. I'm laughing my ass off. I really wish I recorded it. Not 5 seconds later, another guy comes out, rolls out, this little thing where they boost up the pallet, take it away, and then they roll out a brand new pallet full of DVD players, and then walk away. The guy could have waited 5 seconds and not got all the embarrassment. That was great. I love that story. Okay, Black Friday, done with that. Okay, new Star Wars movies. They're making 3 Star Wars movies in conjunction with the new Episode 7, Episode 8, Episode 9.
Yeah, they're doing 3 one-offs.
Yeah. They're doing one called Red 5, which is strictly about X-Wing fighters.
I'm not really thrilled with that.
They're doing a Boba Fett origin story, which I would love that.
We already know Boba Fett's origin.
They don't have a movie about it.
Yeah, but we already... Was that
okay.
established in Episode 2 or not?
When he was a bounty hunter, his origin story as a bounty hunter, like when he started becoming a bounty hunter, not whenever he decided his dad died, so I'm going to be a bounty hunter. When he started doing bounties and what made him such a good bounty hunter.
Spoiler alert: his first bounty is going to be chasing Han Solo for Boba Fett.
Okay, in a Han Solo origin movie, you get to learn how Han Solo became who he is. That's pretty much it. Penguins of Madagascar was hilarious. I suggest you go see it. You'll get some little good laughs. Oh my god, I laughed so hard during that movie.
Wait a minute, what was the third one?
That was the third one.
What
Boba
was
Fett,
the Star Wars movie?
Red 5, the X-Wing movie.
Yeah.
And then Han Solo. Han Solo origin movie.
You can make $1 million frickin' dollars if you went back and told about the fall of the Sith Empire and the rise of the Jedi.
That would be so
with frickin' Yoda coming to terms. Like, oh, come on. You cannot lie to me. Anyone who... You don't even have to like Star Wars. You just got to like movies. When you saw that little shit go pinwheel badass on Dooku in Episode 2, like fucking holding your dick with a cheeseburger on the end of it. Everyone loved it. Everyone loved it. More of that.
Yeah. If you would like to know what the Old Republic would look like movie-wise, watch some trailers for the Old Republic, a video game. I've shown you a couple of those.
Yes, you have.
They're very good. You have hundreds of Sith, maybe thousands, hundreds if not thousands of Jedi. You have huge, grandiose scale fights. And it really shows why you have the rule of 2. If you don't have
Sith.
Yes. They basically, I don't want to get into
They're
it.
all greedy.
Yeah, and they've collapsed under the weight of themselves because you're taught to strive power, but you got to kill someone above you to gain their power. So if you got people constantly doing that, eventually you're going to have Sith Lords.
Yeah, your numbers are going to run out very quickly.
Okay, we're going to go to our top 10. And then we're done.
Okay, he said Nintendo overall. He did not specify cartridge. So
I didn't, but mine's all cartridge. His is mixed in a little bit of the Wii stuff. Go ahead.
All right, I'm just going to rock it out. All right. Super Mario, the original, always fun. Super Mario 3. Sliding through the maps,
Wish you had more thumbs.
kept the warp feature, the foxtail, the armor, like all the different shit you do. Fun. I left out 2 for a reason. It sucked. Mario Kart. Super Mario Kart. The best. Like, some of my greatest college experiences were over a box of pizza, a case of beer, and that game, and challenging each other all night long to either a race or battle mode. Good stuff. Mario Kart 64 maintained the fun factor, didn't goob it up too much. After the 64 system, it kind of got goobed up. Not as much fun. The original Zelda. The first role-playing game on a machine that was, I don't know, fun. Like, there were computer games out there before that did that, but they weren't as entertaining as Zelda was. And you could save your progress. Super Mario Wii. Getting 4 of your best friends, or 3 of your best friends, and you playing, going through some of the levels that were on Mario 3 and the original Super Mario Brothers. Just a good time. Always a good Saturday night. The Wii Sports Package. If you've never got down with like 3 of your friends and played Wii Bowling or the golf or the baseball, you're missing out. It's just fun, fun, fun. Castlevania. Absolutely loved it. Always loved it. Always will love it. That's just personal for me. GoldenEye. the predecessor to Halo.
Probably one of the best first-person shooters ever.
Came out shortly after Doom, I believe. Like, that was one of the best. Yeah, one of the probably
the best multiplayer shooter. Let's just say that.
Yeah,
the best multiplayer shooter.
Just the array of weapons you could get and what you could do with them. That's what made that game so much better. And Contra, dude, up, down, left, right, BA, select, start. Awesome.
Okay, mine. This is in order from number 1's best. 10 is like.
I didn't order mine.
Okay. Ikari Warriors. I don't know if you ever played that. It's very fun. You start off as 2 soldiers, 2-player game, and you just have to go through shooting people. If you have like 4 lives, if you died, you had 10 seconds to do the code and you come back to life. A, B, B, A. And you come back to life. You could play forever. You can play hours and hours and hours. As you play, you can pick up tanks. You can pick up machine guns. You pick up grenades. And you play through all these crazy-ass levels.
I vaguely remember it.
It's a very good game. I miss that game so much. Okay? Knockout. Mike Tyson's Knockout. Really good game. Favorite fighter? Soda Patinsky. Because he's got a 40.
You're so interesting.
He's got a 40. He's drinking a 40 right in the middle of the fight.
40 ounce.
40. Okay? Can't go wrong with that game. Mario 1. Love that game. It comes with Duck Hunter. I don't know if all of them have that, but mine came with Duck Hunter.
There were like 2 versions. One came with Duck Hunter. I can't remember. The other one came with Excite Bike.
I like Duck Hunter and Mario
with the light gun.
Kirby. Can't miss out on Kirby, man. That's one of the classics.
I like Kirby. Could not get behind
Metroid. Metroid was good, not because what was it Metroid 3? You finally found out it was a girl.
I like the fact that it was an established heroine before the age of. That
no, I'm just saying it was like one of the first biggest like shock and awe like bomb like.
Oh, by the way, she's a chick.
Yeah, didn't know that. Turtles in Time, Ninja Turtles. You can play with 4 of your friends, all 4 Ninja Turtles. Just kick the shit out of the foot. I loved it.
That was the side scroll of 2D where you could like actually kind of walk up and down the street a little bit. Yeah. That was good. In
really
the arcade, I never played it on the console, but I played it in the arcade. And I did.
And you had to, some missions, you had to be specific. Like you had to grab like one of the foot guys when they're going to punch you, and you had to throw them at the screen. You had to do things that specific to defeat them. So, really, I love that game so much. You fight all the villains from the movies. Rocksteady, Bebop. You fight the wolf, the huge wolf and turtle things from the Secret of the Ooze. I don't know what they're called. Secret of the Ooze. You've seen the second one, right?
Yeah, but
that's what they're. Yeah, okay. You know what I'm talking about, though, right?
Yeah, but I stay more.
Super Shredder. There's a couple of people in there you fight, but Krang, some kind of crocodile dude. I don't remember that very much in the cartoon, but
I remember the action figure.
Mario 3 Nintendo. That was the best Mario there was. Now, I still like the second one. If I didn't have Ikari Warriors, I'd have put the second one. Because you could play as any character. You could play as 3 different characters. You could play as Mario, you could play as Luigi, and you can play as a princess.
But Luigi's feet was like constantly moving. You couldn't jump with the bastard. You kept sliding off shit.
Okay, but the princess was good because you could jump and she would hover for like 5 seconds, then she would come down.
I did not like picking up shit. No.
Anyway.
Did not like the second one.
I would say the third one, by far the best. They had the best platform.
The best.
Like the best. Plus, if you play the game and you have like another player, you can go, instead of going right to go to the maps, you can go backwards, and you can play all that one game where you hit like the rock and things.
Oh, the original Mario Brothers.
Yes.
Not Super Mario Brothers, the original Mario Brothers.
Yes.
The one that came after Donkey Kong.
Yes. Love that game. Zelda, like he said, first role player game. First game you could actually
It might not have been the first role player game, but you could actually save it. It was on a console, and you didn't have to sit here and go with a million different keys to fucking play it.
Drop the hammer, take a step forward.
Convenient.
Yeah. Just a good game, and not just that one, but all of them are good. There's a handful of good Zelda games out there. For the cartridge.
Yeah, there are. It's
There's also some bad ones, but
it's gotten kind of weird as of late. I'm not gonna lie,
okay.
But
GoldenEye 007 for N64. First real good, other than Halo. I think Halo is the best still.
Yeah, but in GoldenEye, you could put mines and set traps for people.
Yeah.
You couldn't even do that in the original Halo.
Yeah.
Bungie, what up? Where are you at?
It was such a. I love the game. The mission, the campaign was good. Even though the graphics, the guys' faces were stupid, but campaign was good.
Doom 2 was stupid, but we still played the shit out of it, kids. It's the same thing with all the Quakes. The graphics weren't that great, but we played the shit out of them. It had to be fun, and GoldenEye was just fun.
And that was one of the first games you can hook up for. That was the invention of screen cheating. That was the invention of screen cheating.
Raping.
That was literally the invention of screen cheating. Okay, and the number one on my list because I have loved these games forever, and they've made so many games for this now. I have it on emulators, literally on that computer right there. Pokemon Game Boy. They're so darn good. You never played them.
I'm not gonna get
It's like an MMORPG. You gotta collect Pokemon, you gotta raise them. It's just like you level up your character. I love the games, all of them.
It sounds like.
They're getting very complicated now, though. But
Did anyone ever see that at South Park episode where they're chasing the dragon? That's what Pokemon is. You're not gonna catch them all, but you can.
You can.
You just.
I've caught them all.
You've caught them all.
Yes.
On every game.
No, you have to use 3 different games.
White, black, gold, silver,
red,
emerald,
blue, and gold.
sapphire.
Red, blue, and gold. You can catch them. You can even catch Mew.
Ruby.
There is a cheat for it, James. I told you. Suck my dick. But Game Boy is like the best. Or Pokemon Game Boy is the best. Pokemon Snap, what it was like, gonna be number 11 if I didn't have Akari Warriors. But there's another game too.
I'll play Magic the Gathering. Thank you very much. I like Magic.
Talk Magic. You see these episodes of South Park?
Yeah, it's all Talk Magic.
Oh, that's Talk Magic. Okay, so that's our top 10. Did you want to try pick our topics for next week?
What the fuck? We literally sat down and had a conversation before we even started this shit and said, we're going to have to keep it under an hour because we're going to lose people attention span. And the first podcast was 45 some odd fucking minutes, and here we are at an hour and 6 minutes, 52, 53, 54 seconds.
Okay, to be fair, this is real. We are really talking about this.
There's no editing involved. We don't
edit it, so we'll just let it go, man. We can't censor ourselves.
Yeah, if we were gonna play any sort of shenanigans with editing, we would have pulled out lightsabers and the cats would have been dueling in the background doing that Yoda flip shit.
Yeah.
I don't have that kind of technical skill, nor do I have the time to learn.
I did wear my Chewbacca shirt today, like I promised.
Yeah, the funny thing is I'm more of a nerd and he's more of a football guy, and I'm the guy wearing the football gear and he's the guy wearing the nerd gear, so there's that.
See, whenever you are bartending and you're wearing a nerd hat, people don't think you know football. Then you're just like, whoa, that guy knows what he's talking about.
Why don't you bet people money on shit then? Oh, that's right.
I do try. And you would have won, too.
We are not putting any money on this week's game. I'm just putting it down right now.
Time out. We don't have to bet money, dude. We bet, like, if we go see a movie, you pay next time or I pay.
I don't know when I'm going to be able to see a movie next.
I know that. But I'm just saying, we don't have to always bet money. It could be as simple as a 6-pack of your beer, or you get a 6-pack of my beer next time.
Keep it your oh my god, beer.
Rolling Rock is delicious. You ever had it?
Yes.
It's delicious.
I dislike it. I'll stick to Miller Lite. Which, by the way, we established this in part 1, but in part 2, this is what we drink.
Yeah, we still haven't been sponsored yet. We're waiting for a sponsor.
We need a sponsor.
Come on.
Actually, right there. That's a good sponsor spot. Right there. You need to pull your followers. Nah, you gotta pull it over a little bit. You gotta get it like in the other corner. In that spot.
Sponsored by Rolling Rock and Rolling Rock.
There you go.
Beers for buddies. There you go. Alright, what's our list next week?
Well, apparently last week in my drunken haze, I decided it was either going to be beer or fast food, or beer or snacks. I was hammered by the end of the podcast.
Yeah, you were.
I have no idea what happened.
This is a tip.
I almost fell down my stairs.
Wow,
apparently.
Our sword talk was hilarious.
I don't remember not falling down the stairs.
I was like, your left-handed sword needs to be shorter than your right-handed sword. He's like, why? I'm like, for blocking purpose. You have it right here, you can block easier. He's like, no, you just put 2 hands on it. It's great. This is podcasting under the influence. So.
I'm not running for public office right now. However, in a couple of years I might be, so I might have to shit down then. But for right now, it's all done and fun. So, shit, you know what? Next week, top 10 beers.
Okay.
We'll just do it. Top 10 beers.
Top 10 beers.
We're going to do it twice. We're going to do it at the end of the football one and at the end of this one because we didn't do it at the end of the football one. So anyone who wanted to see that, who was watching the football one, might have missed it. So we're going to do it twice next week.
Good call. And other than us interrupting ourselves to do 2 different podcasts, we had no interruptions this week.
Yeah, we did have a catch up on the table during the first part of the first section of the podcast that we're probably going to delete.
It is deleted.
Because we had to redo it. So we did have a cat interrupt us. Just saying. There was an interruption.
I didn't want your cat to yank on the cord and rip my computer off.
So the RIPUI podcast is... Damn it.
RIPUI. PUI.
Random interruption, podcasting under the influence was interrupted. And we were podcasting under the influence. So
Random podcasting.
we maintained high standards here.
Very high.
He says it, it's done.
Okay, come see us next time. Have a good one.